Congratulations, you finally made it to 4 p.m. You know what that means. Happy hour. It's time to kick back, relax, and dive into the world of sports with the Young Norvelle Show. Whether you're catching up on the latest scores, analyzing the big plays, or gearing up for tonight's games, we've got you covered. So grab a cold one, settle in, and let's talk sports. Here they are, Patric Young and Terry Norvelle.
And just like that, the in-season NFL trade deadline has come and gone. 4 o'clock is past us. It is over. A couple moves today that we will talk about. Jaguars, 2 moves, but probably the one they wanted to move in terms of a trade, the wide receiver Christian Kirk, was not able to be put on the block. We'll talk about that. Who made moves today as the in-season trade deadline is over? As I said, no trades now until March. Certainly other ways to bolster a team, such as free agency and the draft in April. But we'll talk about that as we go. Terry Norvelle here in studio. Yes, we normally, on Tuesday, we're normally over in beautiful Mandarin, in the heart of Mandarin, right there by the Julington Creek Bridge at Hurricane Julington Creek. Logistic issues going on. We'll be back next week hanging out on location with Callie and Joshua and all those good folks at Hurricane Julington Creek in Mandarin, our Tuesday home. Remember, great hangout. If you're in the heart of Mandarin, and you probably know about Hurricane anyway, but if you've got a group, it's just got a good feel, good community feel. They've done it a long time over there. Great new ownership, about a year into it now. You can't go wrong in the Mandarin area by visiting Hurricane's Julington Creek. Our Tuesday sponsor will be live out there starting again next Tuesday. We hope to hear from Patric Young. He's speaking somewhere today. I was hanging out with Patric. We'll talk a lot of basketball. Pat and I went to the basketball game last night in the arena. Kind of a choppy game. Florida's good. They've got a lot of players. They got a deep roster. They could not throw it in the ocean in the first half. And then, obviously, talent prevailed. Florida pulled away, scored nearly 100 last night. So we'll talk some college basketball, give you my thoughts, and if we catch up with Pat, certainly he will give you his thoughts on the basketball game last night. Speaking of basketball, we're here in the studio, Action Sports Jack studio, and I'm not here all the time. We're on the road just about every day with our show, but we are about a Brent Martineau driver and 7-iron away from UNF, the campus, and also the basketball court. I've got to believe they're having a spirited either film session or practice today. UNF goes on the road last night in their basketball season opener. They go play one of their money games. They'll play 2 or 3 probably this early season in basketball. I don't know the dollar figure. Somebody may. I'm guessing UNF probably got paid $250,000 for that game yesterday or last night in Columbia, South Carolina against the Gamecocks. UNF pulled it out. They beat South Carolina. First time UNF has ever beat an SEC school in their basketball program history. So, what a nice way to open up the season for UNF. Jay, you got a win as well. I don't want to slight the Dolphins. They play Trinity Baptist. They kind of open up with Trinity Baptist every year. A little inferior competition, but the Dolphins got a win. Florida will travel Thursday down to Gainesville. JU will travel Thursday down to Gainesville to play Florida, is what I should say. So we'll track that on Thursday. College basketball is here. A lot of college football we'll get to. Brent Beard is scheduled to stop by and talk some ball with us today, 5:10-ish, somewhere in that second hour. One of the topics will be anticlimactic, really, but it's good free publicity. The college football playoff reveal, the first reveal, the committee will kind of let you know what they're thinking. Certainly, 5 of the spots the committee has nothing to do with. The conference champions, the Power 4 conference champions, the committee doesn't do anything. And then the group of 5, the committee, do they influence the rankings a little bit? The highest ranked group of 5, which right now looks like Boise State, they're in. But it'll be interesting to see what the committee values. Again, you know my stance on college football and having committees. Got to get rid of them. That's the next big step for college football. You can't have a room full of people deciding who goes to your playoffs. You just can't. You got to play that off on the field. But anyway, we're not there yet. It will be interesting to see those 7 at-large bids, teams, schools, selections, what they value, who they value. Do they value 1 over 2, 2 over 1 in terms of losses? How much? And we can kind of start figuring a little bit out when we see it coming up later tonight. We should get a good feel on how much, and they can talk a good game and say, well, strength of schedule is this much. I also think it's between your ears a little bit when you're a committee member or a voter that votes. I think sometimes you don't go by the written law, but it'll be interesting to see and figure out just how important is strength of schedule / say 2 losses versus strength of schedule a little weaker maybe versus 1 loss. It's going to be fun. Again, the show is really anticlimactic. It's fun. It keeps college football in the news early in the week, the next several weeks as we head to Selection Sunday. But really, do we need to see it? Maybe not. But it gives you some free publicity. I want to go back and bring up a topic. We were talking about the NFL trade deadline, and we'll get to Christian Kirk. We'll get to the Jaguars, what they have done. They've moved 2 guys. You forget that Roy Robertson Harris, he was like the first guy. That was the first trade was way back 3 or 4 weeks ago, and then obviously Cam Robinson. But Christian Kirk is the guy they wanted to move. I think his salary and that position, wide receiver. Several teams made several moves, and you gotta believe you've seen the names that have been traded. Wide receiver wise, you got to believe Christian Kirk would have been in that mix. We'll get to that in a minute, though. I want to get to looking at the NFL headlines right before the show started. Headline about the trade deadline, and it said, and I'm paraphrasing, Indianapolis Colts, let it be known that Richardson is not available. Translation, the Colts say that multiple teams reached out to them about, would you at least entertain a trade involving Anthony Richardson? Joe Flacco been named the recent starter, but man, I tell you, it said multiple, it might have said 4 teams, but it said multiple teams have inquired. There are organizations that truly think that there's a big-time NFL quarterback inside Anthony Richardson. I just have never, ever, ever seen it. That blew me away. That blew me away. You know what? He could prove me wrong, but multiple teams is what it said. Nice game, nice weekend, I should say, coming up NFL-wise. What are they heading into week 10? Some nice games. We'll get over those. We'll go over those games as we cruise here on a Tuesday edition. We'll also kind of look at the big games in college football, and I'll tease that a little bit before we get Brent Beard on. And it's getting real now. It's really getting real now. You can start, and I've got them listed here. The Power 4 conferences, kind of who's at the top. The weeding out has really begun now. You kind of are starting to see, okay, the ACC championship game is going to be some combination of 2 of these 4. The Big 12, some combination, it looks like maybe 2 of these 3 we'll talk about. The Big 10, some combination 2 of these 4. And then now the SEC is a little more expanded. The SEC, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams right now have 1 conference loss. 1, 2, 3 teams have 2 conference losses. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-ish. Still bouncing around right now going into week 11. I want to bust this down a little further. We'll tease the big games coming up in college football week 11. And then maybe with Brent Beard, we'll also kind of see. One big problem is a lot of these teams I've got listed for each Power 4 conference, a lot of them don't play each other. And that is a byproduct of the size of the conferences now. You know, way back in the day when the SEC was 10 schools, and you were one of the 10, you were playing 6 or 7 or 8 games inside your conference, you're one of the 10, there's only 9 left. If you're playing 6, well, you only missed a couple a year. You played everybody but a couple, and now with, what's the SEC have, 16? And they still play 8. So you're missing 7 schools. There's a good chance 2 big boys aren't going to play in the regular season. And these 2 big boys aren't going to play. A little bit of a shame. Now, they can meet up in the championship game, but we'll look at some of these examples and kind of peek ahead, gander ahead at schedules. Which of these schools in these 4 conferences might have the inside track on an easier schedule, on an easier remaining schedule? We're down to 5 undefeated teams. 2 are in the ACC. BYU in the Big 12. 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess 6 maybe. 1, 2, 3. No, I'm sorry. I'm looking at conference losses, undefeated conference losses. And there aren't that many teams in the Power 4 that are still undefeated within their conference. ACC, Miami, SMU. Big 12, BYU, the only conference undefeated team. Big 10, Indiana, Oregon. SEC, no one is undefeated in conference play in the SEC. No one. Everybody's got at least 1 loss. Georgia, Texas A&M, Tennessee, Texas, and LSU all have 1 conference loss, still way, way, way in the thick of things. Vandy has 2 losses, conference-wise. Ole Miss has 2, and Alabama. Boy, it's so strange to see Alabama this late in a college football season. I mean, we're heading into the second weekend of play in November. And Alabama, yes, that program, they are kind of relegated to in the weeds a little bit. They're kind of sneaking around, and we'll see. Will they get LSU this weekend? But Alabama, for God's sakes, is sneaking around with 2 losses conference-wise. And they're bracketed with 2 losses with Vanderbilt. But if it came down to Vanderbilt and Alabama for a spot in Atlanta, Vandy has the tiebreaker on Alabama. Who in the world would have thought that? We'll look at that a little bit harder. Boy, LSU, Brian Kelly, he needs that win. Coming up Saturday, Brian Kelly, LSU, the big game in the SEC, or one of the 2 big games, the two really big games in the SEC. Number 2, Georgia at Ole Miss. Ole Miss ranked 16th, still hanging around a little bit as well. And then obviously Alabama on the road. Bama will go to Bama's 11th, I think it is. Can't even read my writing here. Alabama at LSU. Brian Kelly, he stubbed his toe a lot at LSU. He had that streak of 2 or 3 season openers where he can't win. And, he's lost some ugly games, Brian Kelly has, his tenure at LSU. But he has beat Alabama. He has beat Alabama. I'll tell you one thing. He could close a lot of wounds with another win over Alabama. LSU has been tormented, like most teams in the SEC historically. But LSU recently, when I say recently, let's call it 10 to 15 years, they've got Alabama here and there, but Alabama's got them much more. Brian Kelly could erase some bad memories from this season with a win over Alabama. So we want to do that with Brent Beard a little bit later, really dive into that, and also kind of look at the NFL schedule. And it's a good one. It is a good one. We're starting to hit that period, though. We better take advantage of these good NFL weekends because you guys know we are 2 weeks away from we then will have a bunch of teams out of it. I mean, a bunch of the NFL franchises will be out of it. And when I say out of it, no chance at the playoffs. Either totally mathematically eliminated or you and I know they're eliminated. They're not going to make it. And the problem is you start getting 2 of those teams playing each other, and you get multiple games like that on the weekends, and some of those NFL games can get really ugly. I'll bump around a couple though. I've listed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that really jump up to me as intriguing. Cincinnati at Baltimore, a division game for those two. Cincinnati really needs this game. They've made a bit of a comeback. The Bengals are 4-5. They're at Baltimore, who are the Ravens 6-3. If Cincinnati could get to 5-5 and put a fourth loss on Baltimore, Cincy's back in this thing. Big game. I think that's a very intriguing game. Denver at Kansas City. The Chiefs got their win. They're 8-0 now, still undefeated. Only team undefeated. Are the living members of the 72 Dolphins, are they starting to make calls or no? A little too early? A little too early to plan on maybe going somewhere that's playing Kansas City in their 15th game, 16th game, 17th game. Denver, 5-4, division game. Kansas City, 8-0. Kansas City really running away with that division. Another game I think is intriguing. It's kind of a loser-leave town game. San Francisco, looks like McCaffrey's back. 4-4 are the 49ers, ravaged with injuries this year. San Fran, 4-4 at Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay, 4-5. And remember, Tampa has a win over... I know Kansas City's undefeated. They're the defending multiple-time Super Bowl champion. I'm hearing and reading and noticing more and more people saying, I'm not so sure Detroit's not the best team in the NFL. Starting to hear that a lot. Tampa's got the win over Detroit. Way back, I think it was week 2. They slid by them like 20-16. Tampa kind of trying to hang on at 4-5. Really nice game. Really nice game coming up in the NFL on Sunday. How about the Steelers? The Pittsburgh Steelers. And it's hard to say this, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. The Pittsburgh Steelers, to me anyway, are they not a very quiet, almost innocuous 6-2? Steelers 6-2 at the Commanders 7-2. And both of these guys were looking to and have been active in the trade market that just closed out at 4 o'clock. And the teams that are acquiring talent in trades, they're the ones that you think they got a shot. They got a shot at having a really big season. But what a nice game. 6-2 Pittsburgh at 7-2 Washington. And the last game I've listed that I think is a really nice game as well, Houston's at home. They're not in a very good mood. The Texans 6-3. They've been leading the AFC South basically all year. I think they have been all year. They host the Detroit Lions at 7-1. That should be a really nice game. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or so games that are really intriguing coming up on this weekend. I think they're all Sunday. I don't know if one of them's a Thursday night game. I haven't looked that far ahead. All right, let's take our first break here. We're going to catch up with Patric Young, hopefully sometime in this first hour, and then we're scheduled to visit with Brent Beard on the other hour, second hour. Tease here as we go to break. I mentioned San Francisco, the 49ers. It looks like McCaffrey will be back. Gosh, he reminds me, his career on and off his playing field reminds me of a big-time baseball player. I'll tell you who that is, and you can concur or not on the other side. One down, a long way to go. Tuesday edition, the Young and Norvelle Show, of course, presented today and every Tuesday by Hurricanes Newington Creek.
At Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, we know pain and injuries can stop you from doing what you love. This is why our board-certified orthopedic specialists offer the latest in both non-surgical and surgical treatment options and create a treatment plan tailored to your unique lifestyle and goals. So, whether it is a sports injury or that nagging pain that's keeping you from doing what you love, our team has the right treatment for you. For more information or to schedule an appointment online, visit our website.
Finally, a family atmosphere, kid-friendly restaurant with a real sports bar feel. Bricks Jack's Beach features all of that and a large, climate-controlled covered patio with misting fans and heaters for all seasons. Mix in an extremely diverse menu that features the most quality and affordable steak at the beach, and there's no reason not to enjoy your next lunch, dinner, happy hour, or big sporting event at Bricks Jack's Beach, 300 2nd Street North in Jacksonville Beach. See you at Bricks Jack's Beach.
You really got to hand it to him. Hold on.
The previous play is under further review.
I'm not sure what he could review, but okay. Sure has been a while. Dine in at Hurricane Grill and Wings for the football season. Well, there he is. Oh, what is that?
The Action Sports Jax 24/7 network is streaming. I'm Stuart Weber, and I'm here to teach you a nice three-step process on how you can watch all your favorite programming from the Brent and Austin Show every weekday 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. or the Cup Date with me. It's fantastic. We talk NASCAR. It's a great time. Wednesdays at 1 o'clock. All right, first step, easy. Download the Action News Jax app. You probably already have it downloaded on your phone, so you might already have that one taken care of. Step 2, see that stack of pancakes up there? You click that stack of pancakes, and it's going to bring down step number 3, which is a full screen of all the different streams that you can click on, including the Action Sports Jax 24/7 stream. You click that, the video's rocking and rolling on your mobile device. You're watching all the shows you want to, and you're having a good time. You can also do it on your smart TV with the Action News Jax Now app. I do it on my Samsung TV at home. It's a great way to watch it on a nice, large screen for all the content. That's the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. Hope you can find it.
You trust CGC to make your water great, and now you can trust CGC with your plumbing needs as well. Fast, convenient scheduling, licensed and insured. A quick call away at 904-552-1242.
You never know when you're going to have an issue with a shower, toilet, or maybe it's a sink that sometimes is easy to fix. All right, let's be honest. I'm not fixing anything. I'm totally staging this because when I have a plumbing problem, I call CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing.
Trained professionals, transparent pricing, customer satisfaction. Small problem or even a bigger issue. Maybe you need a new tankless water heater or something a bit more intricate. The experts with 25 years of experience at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing can do it all. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. That's 904-552-1242 or cgcwater.com. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 143-2579.
Hey, same old man in the afternoon. Every one of our aerial shots this time of day, and looks like that. The only problem is we're losing some daylight now with the adjusted clock. Welcome back. It is a Tuesday edition. The Young Norvelle Show presented on Tuesdays, every single Tuesday. You know it by now. Hurricanes, Jewington Creek, super place. We're there every Tuesday. We've got some logistic issues with some equipment gear that we're working out. We'll be right back next Tuesday at Hurricanes, Jewington Creek, and I may see if I can get our trivia guy. You know, we do trivia with Trivia Pat every Tuesday, probably the last 20 minutes or so. I'll see if we can get him to call in and call in with the right kind of questions. You know what a good trivia question is, right? One I know. Great question. If I don't know him, it's just a dumb question. Just a dumb question. All right, well, we'll catch up with Patric Young if he frees up his schedule, and then second hour, Brent Beard. I teased a little bit, and then I want to talk Jaguar wide receivers with you folks, and I'd love for you to chat along with us if you've got some thoughts on this. But this is not a big deal, but just McCaffrey coming back, it appears. He's being cleared, Christian McCaffrey. And when you look at him as a football player, he is multifaceted. He's just not a running back. He's a receiver. He's talented. He's run between the tackles. He's good in space. He's got a little power. He's got a lot of get up. Multi-talented player. But injuries. Injuries. I mean, I think McCaffrey was an MVP, I do believe, right? He was a one-time MVP. Really good player when he's on the field. Have you ever seen in the same room at the same time Christian McCaffrey, Ronald Acuna of the Braves? Aren't they the same guy? Immensely talented. I mean, multifaceted talented. But they just, I mean, great careers at this point. But how much better could their careers have been if they haven't had that injury bug? Same guy. Aren't they the same guy? Different sports? Same guy? Anyway, McCaffrey, I hope he can come back and play. They've been ravaged with it, ravaged with injuries. The 49ers, seems like. Goodness gracious. All right. Jaguar wide receiver room. Christian Kirk would have been moved. I think it's pretty obvious had he not broken his collarbone. The Jaguars' word was they were already taking inquiries about Christian Kirk. He's got a pretty big contract. The Jaguars really need to free up some money somewhere. They don't have a lot of options. I have a guy checking in saying absolutely Acuna and the injury bug is crushing him. Same with McCaffrey. Man, they're the same guy. Aren't they the same guy? But getting back to the Jaguars, Kirk would have been moved. And under the, gosh darn, this franchise seems snake-bitten. They really aren't going to be able to get anything for him now. Maybe in the offseason when he shows that he's healthy. But I want to throw this out. And all things being equal, let's assume these 4 wide receivers are all healthy. And you've seen them all now. You've seen the rookie that I'm going to throw out now. You've seen the veterans. You've seen the new guy on the block that came over. If the Jaguars do part ways with Christian Kirk, I would imagine somehow they'll try and find somebody, but it would then appear that Brian Thomas Jr., of course, is your 1, and your 2 will be Gabe Davis. I tried to tell people in the offseason, I think Gabe Davis is just a guy. Oh, no. He came over to this team, so he's good. Every fan does that to their team. Whoever comes over in free agency is a star. So if Kirk has played his last football in Jacksonville, it looks like the Jaguars' 1-2 receiver room will be Brian Thomas and Gabe Davis. If everybody was healthy, okay? That's the kicker here. What's a better 1-2 receiving core? Thomas Davis, Ridley Kirk. Thomas Davis or Ridley Kirk? Ridley Thomas, pretty close to a push. Ridley doesn't have the numbers because he got a miserable quarterback. But wouldn't you say pretty close to a push? Healthy Kirk, and again, he's not healthy. I get that. Healthy Kirk is way better than Gabe Davis, isn't he? Has that been proven? I don't know. I don't know. Your thoughts on that? I don't know. Are they snake bitten? They are definitely snake bitten. Got another comment here. Gabe is not the guy. Parker Washington has a way higher. Wow. Wow. How about that? And you may be right. You may be right, Mike, that Parker Washington, for God's sakes, written off. Had we said that a week before? Had we said that a week before the NFL season, that people would be saying, Parker Washington I think is better than Gabe Davis. Oh, that'd have been a precursor to a bad season. A bad season. Yeah, and you can't force a guy to sign, and you can't really force a guy to stay. Ridley, I thought had a nice season. He was a 1,000-yard receiver. And I'm not saying it's from just his standpoint or the franchise standpoint or the relationship with the fan standpoint. It never felt comfortable with Ridley. I think he's a good player, really good player, and still got some miles on that odometer. But it just never felt. And with that said, you wonder, was Ridley beating feet out of here no matter what? Was Ridley taking another contract no matter what? It never, ever felt right. But going back to Christian Kirk, the Jaguars, the pretty big salary, there are too many receivers that have been gone, and I had a list somewhere. There are too many receivers that have been traded for in this period that just ended. Kirk would have been in there. I mean, the Steelers made moves. Washington made moves, on and on. I saw a list. There were at least 6 or 7 wide receivers traded very recently, but in this in-season trade, a bunch. Christian Kirk, and I don't have the list in front of me. I looked at it this morning, or earlier today when the 4 o'clock was approaching. Christian Kirk would have been high to middle of that list of 6 or so that were traded recently. He would have been sought after. And the word is, again, the franchise, the Jaguars, the phone was ringing, and the inquiries were coming about Christian Kirk. Another comment came in and says, Mike says, I never felt that Ridley was thrilled to be here. Not sure I can blame him either. You know, Mike, you might have a point. Some people may back up and say, wait a minute, he came here. Why? Never felt, well, couldn't he have told, why did he come here? Well, keep in mind where he was coming from. He needed to reinvent himself, right? I mean, Ridley had to go find a place to not only go to, but be thrown to, right? He had to be thrown to. If Ridley had gone, and I'm just throwing a number out or a team out, if Ridley had gone to, who's some of the great receivers in the league right now? If Ridley had gone to Minnesota, just for what's and giggles, well, most of the balls are going to a guy named Jefferson, right? But so Ridley needed a place to reestablish himself with his back history. And it worked out for Ridley, I guess. It worked out, but I don't disagree that it never felt like, some of it on Ridley's part, some of it on the team part, I think some of it on the fans' part, it never felt smooth to me. And I know he went out, he said, well, Terry, if it was not smooth, give me some of those not smooth 1,000-yard receiving seasons. I get that, but it just never, it'd be fun to know, and we'll never know, but Ridley and his agent, it really did appear he was getting out of Duval County. He had turned in his year. He's back. He probably feels like he's got, including this year, 4 or 5 more good years to make money and be a 1 or 2. Anyway, what a shame the Jaguars really are going to get nothing, it doesn't appear, for Christian Kirk. We want to get to, let me go over some, again, these college games. I want to tease this a little bit before we get Brent Beard on, and then we'll get back to it. In terms of games this weekend, a couple thrown in with our local teams, but some of your must-see games, I think, to pay attention to. 4th-ranked Miami. Where will they be ranked in a couple of hours? We'll see. The Hurricanes. Man, they were pushed. They were pushed by Duke. And the big concern, the big thought process is, does Miami have the defense to go in a tournament and win a couple games in a row and beat a couple of tournament teams? Miami, after just blitzing in the second half, Duke. Miami at Georgia Tech, that's a noon game. Can the Canes keep it going? Florida State, 1-8. They're at Notre Dame. Oof. Oh, my goodness. Over the years, been a not often played rivalry, but an intense one. And don't you know, Notre Dame, they need a win. Notre Dame cannot lose another football game. This is every game from here on out for Notre Dame is huge. Notre Dame, at home, Florida State, how much fight do they have in them? And again, full transparency, I was so busy Saturday getting to sitting through the Florida-Georgia game in person. I saw very little. I went back and watched highlights, busted down the box score. It appeared Florida State did not even compete in the loss to North Carolina. Not a great team. If FSU has totally thrown in the towel, Notre Dame could really put a number on them. So Miami at Georgia Tech, Florida State at Notre Dame. Obviously, Florida is at Texas, 5th-ranked Texas. Still no word on is Lagway officially out of this game. The door is cracked. I know that may sound crazy, but the door is cracked. The comments from Billy Napier yesterday at his Monday presser cracked the door ever so slightly. If Lagway doesn't go, you wonder, and you kind of need to make a decision. My goodness, you don't have a lot of practice time. And if Lagway can't go, you want those snaps going to whoever's going to take the majority of your snaps. I wonder, though, if Lagway doesn't go, did Warner's performance scare Billy Napier? And I know the comeback answer is, well, Terry, the word was Warner beat out Clay Millen, the other preferred walk-on who played Division I football for one full season. He threw for nearly 2,000 yards at Colorado State, but the word is this cat beat him out. Ugh. But did Warner's performance scare you so much if you're Billy Napier that you're like, hey, maybe they were so close, fighting for the 4th spot, I guess it was, that we owe it to give Clay Millen a shot? I don't know. But Florida really needs to make a decision probably by today. If you're Billy Napier, you really need to know Lagway's official Texas game availability so you can get reps, because Lagway still needs reps, but my God, these two guys behind him, they need practice reps. And I've said for a million years, in-season football practice, not a lot happens. Well, this is a situation that trumps that. I mean, and this is needed. These guys need reps Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, before they get on that plane on Friday and head to Austin, Texas, a team that needs this win. They cannot afford another loss. A couple more games we'll really dive into with Brent Beard in the second hour. Georgia, 2nd-ranked Georgia at Ole Miss. Huge game. Both teams. Big game for Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin goes out and beats Georgia now. I mean, Ole Miss is right back in the mix for the SEC championship game, right back in the mix for a potential playoff spot. And how freaking hot will Lane Kiffin be, especially around a large percentage of Gator Nation? If he goes out and beats the team that Florida just played and that's been the nemesis of the Gators, oh boy. I mentioned this, I think I was posting it on the Facebook when I was in the stadium this past Saturday. It was so interesting that warm-ups for Florida, Georgia going on. We're talking 90 minutes before kickoff. You know, teams are on the field, but they're in their light warm-ups. Well, you know the big scoreboards at the stadium down, the Jaguar Stadium. At one point, they had it on for a good 45 minutes. They took both massive scoreboards and they cut them kind of in half, and they had 2 football games playing on both scoreboards. They had Miami, Duke, Ole Miss, Arkansas, Miami, Duke. And you could see what was going to happen. And this was, you know, these were noon games, I think. So they're going on while the crowd's starting to file in. And Gator Nation starts filing in. Not that they weren't watching in the parking lots, but when you walk into the stadium, you know, those big scoreboards are right in your face. And I started posting, I go, oh my goodness, because you could see it happening, and it did. Lane Kiffin on those big screens for all of Gator Nation in that stadium walking in to see. Lane Kiffin put a 63 burger up on the board, and you know Gator Nation was going, we need some of that. And Arkansas is pretty damn good this year. They've been a surprise good team. And it happened. But, if Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss beat Georgia. And I'm not – Georgia could win it all again. Georgia's one of the teams. This is not – this – how do I phrase this? And I don't want the word weak to be too heavy of a word here. Help me here, synonym. I don't think I'm the only one that now I've seen Georgia play a bunch of football games this year. 3 or 4 full games, basically. Ugh. This is the week's a bad word, but I'm going to have to say it. This is the weakest Georgia football team, top to bottom, in 5 years. I would safely say of the previous 5 Georgia football teams, this would be at the bottom of the barrel. Now, they're good. Those other teams I'm comparing them to, those other Georgia teams were really good and national championship winners or worthy. But no, this is a Georgia team. They were begging to get beat in Jacksonville. Ole Miss is going to give them hell, I think, at home. They're going to give them hell. A couple games before we break, and we'll get into these deeper. Colorado, don't look now. A lot of people pick at Deion. Colorado's 21st in the country. 1 conference loss, right? Yeah, 4-1. Colorado's at Texas Tech, who just sprang a big upset. A little bit of a sneaky game here for Colorado, but they're in the thick of things. The other huge SEC game coming up Saturday, Alabama, we talked about a little bit, at LSU, elimination game. Loser, I think, is pretty much, even though LSU only has 1 loss, or both of them have 1, right? Is that right? Let me see. No, Bama's got 2. Brian Kelly needs it. Not that Kalen DeBoer could, skate through, but he's not getting fired. His seat could get hot quickly, but he's not getting fired. Bama at LSU. 8 or 9 years ago, this was the game in college football. And who would have thought this next and final game we're going to talk about in hour 2 hard, hopefully with Brent Beard. Who would have thought that week 11 of college football, 2024, that this game would have bowl implications and level of bowl? What level are you going to a bowl game and trying to go up or down, trying to sneak in? South Carolina, 1 win away from bowl eligibility. They've got 5. They're playing good football, man. South Carolina at 24th ranked Vanderbilt, who already is bowl eligible. Vanderbilt, for God's sakes, with 4 games left, they're trying to crawl up the bowl pecking order. Vanderbilt. South Carolina still needs 1. Let me see who they play the rest of the way. I think I've got this right. South Carolina is a 5-3 football team. Real quick. Let's see if we can find South Carolina. Let's put these old man glasses on. And South Carolina, they are at Vandy this Saturday. Missouri Wofford at Clemson. South Carolina needs 1 more win, and there's a win or 2 in there. This is a bowl. I'm confident in saying, even though South Carolina is not bowl eligible right now, this is a bowl matchup game. Week 11, South freaking Carolina against the Vandy freaking Commodores, for goodness sakes. Ay. Let's take a break, come back. We'll start wrapping up hour number 1, and then we'll dive into hour number 2, the Young Norvelle Show on a Tuesday, presented by Hurricanes, Billington Creek.
For those dealing with pain from a sports injury, arthritis, or spine condition, Southeast Orthopedic Specialists offers innovative new non-surgical options. Our regenerative medicine treatments, including platelet-rich plasma and other regenerative treatments, use your body's own restorative cells to aid in treating injuries. These procedures are performed in our offices and typically require minimal downtime. If you want to get back to doing what you love, our regenerative treatment options may be right for you. For more information or to schedule an appointment online, visit our website.
Finally, a family atmosphere, kid-friendly restaurant with a real sports bar feel. Bricks Jack's Beach features all of that and a large, climate-controlled covered patio with misting fans and heaters for all seasons. Mix in an extremely diverse menu that features the most quality and affordable steak at the beach, and there's no reason not to enjoy your next lunch, dinner, happy hour, or big sporting event at Bricks Jack's Beach, 300 2nd Street North in Jacksonville Beach. See you at Bricks Jack's Beach.
Since 1936, Procter Ace has been proudly helping Jacks with all your home and garden projects. Whether you need tools, paint, plumbing supplies, or expert advice, we've got what you need to get the job done right. Looking to brighten your yard? Visit our garden center for plants, tools, and everything to make your outdoor space flourish. You're not just shopping here, you're part of our community. So come in today and let us help you tackle your next project with a smile. After all,
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
When I say it means something to me, gentlemen, it means something to me.
High school football is back and it's bigger than ever. Welcome to the Friday Night Zone Blitz.
It is bigger than a game.
Watch the biggest games each week live as the action unfolds with instant reaction and analysis from our Hall of Famer, Kevin Sullivan. It starts with live look-ins at the top matchups, including our Jaguars Prep Whataburger Game of the Week, and that is just the beginning of 4 straight hours of coverage. From 8 to 10:30, the Friday Night Zone Blitz is streaming on our Action News Jax app and online. At 10:30, the Friday Night Blitz you know and love. A half hour of highlights from around the area. 11 o'clock, we shine the spotlight on the bands that pump up the crowd. 11:15, it's time to blitz through the highlights online and on air. Then 11:35, back to the stream to break down the night's results with a reaction from local coaches. 4 straight hours of high school football on the Friday Night Zone Blitz. Only on Action Sports Jax 24/7.
Baker Sports is local sports. Uniforms from Pop Warner and Little League to travel ball, high school, and college. They make you look good. They help you play good. Baker Sports has been helping families make memories that will last a lifetime with their Baker's Buckets. We've got a lot of these filled with baseballs and softballs in the garage. I've been throwing batting practice to Ty and Kaylee for years and also sit on the Baker's Bucket, catching Kaylee while she practices her pitching. Baker Sports is homegrown, and a lot of employees that used to play on local ball fields now work for Baker Sports, now helping you look good, play good, and make memories of your own. Visit Bakersport.com to see what Baker Sports can do for you. Custom apparel, Nike, Under Armour, Adidas, embroidery, screen printing, and more. Baker Sports is local sports from Jacksonville to anywhere in the Southeast. Bakersport.com.
During the break here, all kind of stuff coming to you live from the Action Sports Jax studio. Terry Norvelle. Normally we are out in Mandarin on Tuesday working on some gear issues. So we said let's bring it to the studio. We'll be back at Hurricanes Jointon Creek coming up next Tuesday. Love our friends out there, Josh and Callie, the owners, treat us so well. And we will be right back live on location next Tuesday at Hurricanes Jointon Creek, right there at the foot of the Jointon Creek Bridge. Hence the name, Hurricanes Jointon Creek. Hey, breaking news here. Joel Embiid, 76ers big man, suspended for 3 games. He got into an incident in the locker room, and I don't think there's any confusion here because it was seen by many people. He shoved a columnist that covers the team. He wasn't happy. Marcus Hayes is the columnist, and Embiid took exception to a column written by Hayes that kind of referenced Embiid's son and his late brother. Embiid's late brother, who obviously passed, both named Arthur, while questioning Embiid's professionalism and effort to stay in shape. So the NBA has come down and said Embiid will miss the next 3 regular season games. I will say this, and I didn't read the column. I've seen the headlines and read reports of it. You just cannot put hands. A player cannot put hands on a member of the media. You just cannot. You can certainly reach out. You can certainly have discussions with. You can certainly go different channels. You can go through your team media communication guy. You can go to the NBA. You can go to the publication. But you can't put hands on, though. You just can't do that. And I get it. Something like that could really rile you up if that was written about you and your loved ones. But you can't put hands on. You really can't. 3 games, is that enough? Would be my first question. Is that enough? You've got to really make sure that this doesn't happen again. No doubt about it. Wanted to get back. Patrick and I, Pat, speaking engagement today. I don't think he's going to be able to make it. Maybe in the second hour. Brent Beard scheduled to join us in the second hour with a lot of college football talk. But Patrick Young and myself, we were in the arena. I just kind of heard through the grapevine about 6,000. It was a good crowd, I thought. Monday night, 8:30 tip. First college basketball game of the season. The tail end of Florida-Georgia weekend. That was a nice crowd. I thought there'd be a nice crowd, but that was a tough pull now. I mean, think about it. I bet you, not that the group that put the game on, they did a nice job with publicity. I saw a lot of publicity, heard. But I would bet you a lot of people still had no idea that there was a college basketball game, a regular season college basketball game with the University of Florida playing South Florida in the downtown Jacksonville Arena last night. And the 8:30 tip, it was the second of 2 games televised by SEC Network. I think they went 6 or 6:30, then obviously the 8:30 game. That was asking a lot. And there was a nice crowd, a really nice crowd. Florida's good. I know. And if you went to the game or watched it, you may be saying, hey, man, they stunk it up in the first. They did. Florida stunk it up in the first half. They could not drop the ball in the ocean from a boat. They ended up shooting from long range. They were 5 of 25, I believe it was. And then their talent took over. Todd Golden, boy, the more you look at his program and watch him, the more you can understand why players want to come and play for this guy. Used a lot of rotations. I mean, played a lot of players, and it's early. And certainly in the portal world, it can take time to figure out, okay, who are my situational guys? Where do I plug in? Do I go with those 2 power forwards? Do I go with a center and a power forward? Do I go with 3 quick guards, a big guard? A lot of that happened last night. Walter Clayton, I don't know if you could have a quiet 29. He had 29 quiet points. He had a terrible start to the game. And Clayton is a potential first-team All-American. 20. That's you're a scorer and you're a prolific scorer when you score. And I was at the game. I thought it was a quiet, very, very labored 29 points to lead all scorers. The transfer from FAU, Martin, he's going to be a great player for Florida. And here's another thing that might have slipped by. He has Final Four experience. He played on the FAU Final Four team. He was the leading scorer in the Final Four game, and I think they got beat by a point. So Florida added a guard with Final Four experience. 2 or 3 more big men have come in to go with Condon, who had a great first half, got in foul trouble, and had to sit the bulk of the second half. But Florida's got a lot of parts. If they figure all this out and find out, who are their top 8 guys and plug them in, they got a lot of parts. They got a lot, and they've got good players at all 3 levels. The 1-2 guards, the 3 or 4 forwards, and the 5 center, right? The big center. They've got size. They've got bulk. They've got quickness. They have length. They've got several guys with really scoring mentalities, too. Walter Clayton is a scorer. I mean, He's got a lot of elements where his game can hurt you. He's got a great blow-by game. He can really shoot it. He struggled last night, but Walter Clayton will be fine shooting. Big-time scorer. Martin, first time I saw him, really watched him. Obviously, I saw the Final Four game, but I didn't think to follow him. He's a lot like Clayton. He has a scorer's mentality, and every basketball player doesn't have that. They all want to score, sure, they want to shoot and all, but some guys have that, they're scorers. And 4 missed shots in a row doesn't deter their scorers. He's got that. Will Richard been around forever. He's a nice slasher who can get hot from the three-point line, but they got a lot of big men too. They can give a lot of fouls. They can give a lot of fouls. And it was funny where Patrick and I were sitting and a lot of people walking by. We're talking ball with a lot of people. And one of the main topics from last night was a guy that didn't play and probably won't play much at all, was Olivier Rio, the 7'9" kid. And I tried to tell people I'd seen him in person back on, what was it, August 31st, the opening game for Florida against Miami, when the Gator basketball team had an open practice inside the O'Connell Center, because the O'Connell Center is open across from Florida Field. It's always open on football Saturdays as a place to go either cool down or warm up, depending on the time of season, and use the restroom. They always open the O'Connell Center, which is a great idea. Well, Todd Golden had a great idea. He said, well, wait a minute. Why don't we have a practice / little scrimmage at noon before the Florida-Miami 3:30 football game, and just open, the doors are open, come on in. So I went in, obviously. I was there several hours before kickoff, and there must have been 2,000-3,000 people in and out watching. And that was the first time I saw the kid, the 7'9" kid, in person. And he's all of 7'9". It's unbelievable. And let me stop. I have told a lot of people about him and said, man, you won't believe him. I've seen him in person. Unbelievable how tall he is. But he's coordinated. He's not just flailing around. He's coordinated. I don't know if he's going to play much. And he's not skinny. Got some meat on his bones. But last night, I think people could really, if you know Gator basketball, you could really tell how unreal that 7'9" height is. Florida's center last year, Micah Hanlogden, got hurt in the championship game of the SEC. Remember, that was the ugly, went down 2 minutes into the game. He's in incredible pain. There was supposedly blood, meaning the bone had poked through the skin, blah, blah. I hate to be graphic, but it was a horrible injury. Florida was in a daze, got beat by Auburn. He went down in the first 2 minutes or whatever. Michael Hanlogden is a legitimate 7'1". By the way, he was at the game, obviously, in shorts and a long sleeve shirt. He's out. They're redshirting him. Totally fine, walking around. Didn't go in drills. He's not doing drills yet. But, I mean, no brace. Totally walking around, up and down. So it looked good to see Hanlogden. So he's on the bench. And if you know Florida basketball, again, Michael Hanlogden is legit, not listed at 7'1". He's a legit 7'1". And many times, because Hanlogden's not playing this year, so he's on the end of the bench. He's a good teammate, cheering on the Gators during the game. There were multiple times where during timeouts, the bench stands up and the starters kind of sit down and the coaches around. Well, you would have Hanlogden standing next to Rio. Hanlogden is 7'1", and damn, it's the 7'9" kid's this much taller than him. A 7'1" guy. Just a full melon taller. It will be interesting, though. We've talked, Patrick and I have talked, and we're about to wrap up our number one, but I'm going to throw this out again if you haven't heard. It will be interesting if Todd Golden and his staff have thought of 2 or 3 situations, because I think there could be 2 or 3 situations. And are they practicing this with the kid, the 7'9" kid, Olivier? He could come in handy for a play here and a play there. One of the plays here could happen into the first half, into the game. Many times the opponent will be inbounding the ball and something happened where the ball's knocked out of bounds. After a made basket, you can run the baseline, okay? So this wouldn't work, what I'm going to bring up. But ball's knocked out of bounds, inbounding where the inbounder cannot move or to travel. Okay, you know that situation. There's a bunch of those situations. A situation like that, you're trying to protect the lead. You're trying to protect you can't give up a basket or you're going to lose here in the last 4 or 5 seconds. You go run that guy about 2 feet away from the inbounder who can't move side to side. That's going to be a tough end. That is going to be a tough pass. The other thing that comes to mind, kind of the same situation. You're protecting a 1 or 2 point lead late in the game, late in the half, maybe. First half. And a few seconds left. You're on the defensive end, Florida. You run the big guy out, and you kind of position him, tell him, hey, keep your feet out of the restricted area. But, my God, just kind of patrol and swat away anything that comes near you. Right? He's 7'9". That means the top of his head. Think about his reach. It's a different world than I live in, I'll tell you that. Let's take a break. 1 hour down, 1 to go. A lot of college football coming up. The reveal show, first time tonight, happens. The college football reveal show. What is the committee thinking? Where do they value? What do they value? I think we'll get a little bit of a read. It really doesn't matter until Selection Sunday, but that's fun. Fun to talk about it. We'll do it with our expert, college football analyst Brent Beard, on the other side, right here on a Tuesday edition. The Young Norvelle Show presented by Hurricanes. Georgia Creek.
For those dealing with pain from a sports injury, arthritis, or spine condition, Southeast Orthopedic Specialists offers innovative new non-surgical options. Our regenerative medicine treatments, including platelet-rich plasma and other regenerative treatments, use your body's own restorative cells to aid in treating injuries. These procedures are performed in our offices and typically require minimal downtime. If you want to get back to doing what you love, our regenerative treatment options may be right for you. For more information or to schedule an appointment online, visit our website.
Finally, a family atmosphere, kid-friendly restaurant with a real sports bar feel. Bricks Jack's Beach features all of that and a large, climate-controlled covered patio with misting fans and heaters for all seasons. Mix in an extremely diverse menu that features the most quality and affordable steak at the beach, and there's no reason not to enjoy your next lunch, dinner, happy hour, or big sporting event at Bricks Jack's Beach, 300 2nd Street North in Jacksonville Beach. See you at Bricks Jack's Beach.
You really got to hand it to him. Hold on.
The previous play is under further review.
I'm not sure what he could review, but okay. Sure has been a while. Dine in at Hurricane Grill and Wings for the football season. Well, there he is. Oh, what is that?
Hey everyone, Olivia Tasley here from Action Sports Jacks to tell you all the different ways you can watch our new 24/7 network. 3 easy steps. You don't even need a pen and paper to write it down. Step number 1, download the app. Search Action News Jacks in your app store either on your phone or your smart TV. Then, once you're on the app, click on that little drop-down menu in the upper left-hand corner with the 3 little lines. That'll show you these options, and boom, right here, click Action Sports Jacks 24/7, and you will be brought to our continuous stream Stream channel. That app can be accessed through all these different platforms. Whether you have Roku, Fire TV, Smart TV, Apple TV, or Google TV, you can find our app. Now, if you don't have access to the app, don't worry, we still got you covered. We're across all social media platforms from Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, Twitch. We have a podcast channel. Plus, check out our short reels on our TikTok. Action Sports Jax 24/7. It's on all the time and everywhere.
It's a new logo, new branding. With Bold City Heating and Air, it's an old school approach. One of the few locally owned and operated air conditioning businesses left in Jacksonville. It's hot, Florida in the summer. You can't do much to avoid it, but you can keep cool with Bold City Heating and Air. It's every customer counts kind of service, from when these trucks have pulled up to my home over the last couple of years and when they pull into your driveway as well. From communication to pricing to the actual service, everyone at Bold City Heating and Air cares about you. You know who is coming to your house. You know they will be well trained, and they will respect your home. Air conditioning convenience at boldcityac.com. Stay cool while it gets hot. Bold City Heating and Air can help. Don't get caught sweating all summer. boldcityac.com, and they have financing to help. New systems starting at $110 a month and $50 off any repairs. Stay safe, stay comfortable with Bold City Heating and Air at boldcityac.com. Homegrown in your hometown.
And there's Mr. Sunshine trying to poke out. Overcast afternoon, about to get dark again. Who likes this time change? Not me. But nobody asked my opinion. Terry Norvelle here, hour number 2. Brent Beard should join us momentarily. We've got a lot of college football to talk about with Brent Beard. But before we get to it, just talking during the break a moment ago, and I don't know. You definitely know that at least one NFL coach has been fired so far. Dennis Allen, a day or so ago, the New Orleans Saints coach was let go after a 7-game losing streak. How ironic, though, is one of the first NFL coaches from the 2024 season to get fired, and they'll end up being 5 or 6. There always are. How ironic is it that Dennis Allen just got fired on the heels of a 7-game losing streak? He and his Saints started the year 2-0. You get fired after starting 2-0, and you don't make it past barely the halfway season, point of the season. God almighty. What a league. What a league. Spinning off that with the Jaguars, and we got a lot of time to talk about this, probably, because at least 2 weeks, probably. If something happens in Jacksonville during the season, wouldn't it be during the off week, which is coming up? Jaguars have, a couple more games, off week, and then Houston, I think it is. They've got Minnesota, Detroit, off Houston, and then the final 5, which there may be some wins in the final 5. But I'll tell you, if Shad Khan decides he's got to make a move at the top of his organization and the top of your football organization, your general manager and your head football coach. That's the top. If Khan makes the decision, he can do anything he wants. He owns the team. But can Shad Khan literally just fire one of those guys? If you fire Peterson and don't fire Balky, you're basically saying it was on Peterson. If you fire Balky, but you don't fire Peterson, you're basically saying it was on Balky, right? And would Jaguar Nation how would Jag Nation take that? If you kept one of these guys, you almost think you got to whack both of them. If you whack one of them, I don't know. Just maybe I see that different, but I almost think the Jaguar Nation would kind of revolt if he makes a move on one of the guys. And I kid around with this part, and it won't happen, but if you're Shad Khan and you truly are always striving to improve your product, at some point do you look at this analytics world and go, has this thing done anything for us positive in the last 4 or 5 years? How long has that thing been going on with his son, the analytics side? I don't know. Starting tomorrow when we get Zach in, we'll look at our picks because Zach is on Fridays. We make all of our picks, and don't think we did so well. I tell you, my official dipping my toe into the real world of gambling, which I think I told you guys a couple weeks ago. I finally got signed up. A friend of mine really showed me how to do it. I did the Hard Rock Bet app, and so I've never been much of a gambler at all. So I get signed up. This is real now, and I put $25 on it, and I said, okay. So then I think it was like Friday evening. Okay, let me go ahead and try this. So I start searching around, and I pick just 2 weeks ago now. So I pick a game. I think I took Arkansas. Yeah, Arkansas, and they gave up a chunk of points to Mississippi State, and they won by a bazillion points. So I won that one, and I took BYU to beat somebody, and they also gave up a chunk of points. Obviously, they're undefeated, and they won by a ton. BYU, maybe UCF, that might have been that game. So I put like $5 on one of them and $10 on the other, and didn't want to spend all my $25 because I'm frugal like that, math guy, finance guy. So I won them both right out of the gate. And like the $10 one, my profit was like, $3 or $4 and change, and really kind of the same. I think I won $8. It bumped me up to $33 and a few pennies or whatever. So I won like 2 bets that totaled my winnings about $8. I'm rolling now. This thing's easy. Past weekend, all right, let's do this thing. And I'm trying to remember my games. Oh, one of them, I was convinced that Memphis, still fighting for the group of 5 spot, I was convinced that Memphis, with only one loss going into last Saturday's game against Texas San Antonio, under 500 at the time, I was convinced that Memphis was going to cover their 14 or so points, and they got bombed by about 11. I missed that one. And who was my other one? I can't remember my other one, but man, I lost 2, and I think they were both noon games. I lost 2 like that, man. I'm down to like, I put 20 on. Yeah, I think I'm down to $13 now. Ew. And I'm kind of telling myself, I run out of money. But I haven't done research on this, but I would guess that a lot of your gamblers have said that over the years, but they haven't lived it. So anyway, and I did feel what some friends who do gamble a little bit more than me, wink, wink, I did feel what they said. They go, Terry, if you get into this now, just be aware, it's going to take away some of the fun of watching these sporting events. It's a different animal when you put real money and when you put your money on there. I like to do the college, though. I haven't really done... Oh, I know what my second game... Was my second game... Well, wait a minute. I may have rolled... Oh, I know. I can't remember my second game this past Saturday, but I lost 2 of them, and it knocked me down. And I said, okay, I think this is where the words degenerate gambler come in. I think I took my $13 I barely had left, and I think I put like 10 on, hey man, Philadelphia is going to absolutely beat the snot out of the Jaguars. So I pushed some money on the Jaguars to lose by more than their, what was the point total, 7.5? And dude, you might have watched the game. It got to be 22-0. I'm back, baby. I am back. What do you mean they're playing 4 quarters? Wait, what? What do you mean they're calling that a fumble return for what? Wait, what? What do you mean the Jaguars are then going to go for 2 and make it 22-8 and then score? Wait, what? Actually, I can take a peek here. think you could do this here. Let me see what I – sorry, my voice has gone a little bit here. Let me take a peek here. What is the thing I got? What did I say I have? Hard Rock. There we go. And I guess this is the only one you can do in the state of Florida or something. I don't know. They're trying to work all this out or something in Congress or not in Congress. Or so my account is showing doesn't say zero, but it doesn't have any money next to account. Ouch. I guess you know what I did? I guess I rolled all $13. Ouch. Did I roll all $13? Oh, no. So do I put another 25 on it? Does that mean I have a problem if I do that? I'll tell you one thing, and Patrick, we've talked about this a little bit when we do our little fun stuff. We're doing an experiment. This is hard, man. I'm gonna tell you, man. There's people in Las Vegas. They kind of know what they're doing, man. They got a future in this gambling thing. The damn point. How do they get so close on these damn points? And then that damnable 0.5. That thing. How many lives have been ruined by 0.5 points? And a half. And a half. All right, let's reset here. We're going to try and get we want to start looking at the schedules, too, I promised. The Power Four will try and catch up with Brent. I think he's going to try and catch up with us about 10 to 15 after, so hopefully he'll be calling in. We want to look at the ACC, Big 12, Big 10, and, of course, the SEC. The conference championship games are starting to take shape. Remember now, it's the two highest-ranked teams, right? There's no more divisions in these four. There's only I think the Sun Belt, in terms of Division I football now, I think it's the Sun Belt Conference is the only conference, and that's obviously not a Power Four, but that's the only conference that still has divisions. Everybody else goes highest-ranked football teams, and there's tiebreakers if somebody's tied or what have you. But the conferences are starting to shape up a little bit. We're starting to really get a roadmap of who's going to be in. I want to take a look at the conferences, who we think, and what do some of these teams have left on their schedule. And a lot of them, I'm telling you, a lot of these guys are fighting it out. They don't play each other in the regular season. We'll kind of look at some of those matchups, and it's good or bad. I'll tell you one thing that was intriguing before we go to break. One thing that was intriguing, and it can happen still. It won't happen now, most likely in the SEC, but there was a shot that Texas A&M, had they won, had they beaten South Carolina and kept winning, there was an outside shot that Texas and Texas A&M would have played the final regular season game, and then they could have both qualified for Atlanta. They could have played back-to-back after not playing for years. That would have been weird. All right, let's take a look at some conference matchups. Who's got who and who doesn't have who as this thing's starting to weed out. Let's take a break here on a Tuesday edition. Of course, you know it by now, a Hurricanes Jewington Creek Tuesday edition of the Young and Norvelle Show. Finally, a family atmosphere, kid-friendly restaurant with a real sports bar feel. Bricks Jack's Beach features all of that and a large, climate-controlled covered patio with misting fans and heaters for all seasons. Mix in an extremely diverse menu that features the most quality and affordable steak at the beach, and there's no reason not to enjoy your next lunch, dinner, happy hour, or big sporting event at Bricks Jack's Beach, 300 2nd Street North in Jacksonville Beach. See you at Bricks Jack's Beach.
For over 20 years, Southeast Orthopedic Specialists has been providing the highest level of orthopedic and spine care to patients throughout Northeast Florida. Now, we're making that same great care even more convenient with Southeast Orthopedic Specialists Direct, a walk-in clinic where you can be seen for pain or injuries with no appointment needed. Staffed by orthopedic physicians and specialists, we offer everything from diagnosis and treatment to imaging and bracing, all with no appointment needed. For more information, hours, and locations, visit our website.
You really got to hand it to him. Hold on.
The previous play is under further review.
I'm not sure what he could review, but okay. Sure has been a while. Dine in at Hurricane Grill and Wings for the football season. Well, there he is. Oh, what is that?
Hey everyone, Olivia Tasley here from Action Sports Jacks to tell you all the different ways you can watch our new 24/7 network. 3 easy steps. You don't even need a pen and paper to write it down. Step number 1, download the app. Search Action News Jacks in your app store either on your phone or your smart TV. Then, once you're on the app, click on that little drop-down menu in the upper left-hand corner with the 3 little lines. That'll show you these options, and boom, right here, click Action Sports Jacks 24/7, and you will be brought to our continuous stream channel. That app can be accessed through all these different platforms. Whether you have Roku, Fire TV, Smart TV, Apple TV, or Google TV, you can find our app. Now, if you don't have access to the app, don't worry, we still got you covered. We're across all social media platforms from Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, Twitch. We have a podcast channel. Plus, check out our short reels on our TikTok. Action Sports Jacks 24/7. It's on all the time and everywhere.
Summertime means sizzling sales at Nimnick Buick GMC. The #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville has lots of inventory to choose from with their best price guarantee. Nimnick never charges above MSRP. You can save up to $10,000 off select new GMC Sierras or get rates as low as 1.9%.
You know, I'm a truck guy. GMC Sierra, my trim level is an SLT. This one's an Elevation, pretty good looking color as well. So here at Nimnick Buick GMC, you have a lot to pick from. My father-in-law, he drives this, an Enclave, so I feel like that GMC in the family. 2025 is coming around the corner, which means it's almost time to close out those 2024s this summer.
You can schedule a test drive at NimnickBuickGMC.com, and while you're there, check your trade value and customize your payment options. Nimnick is there for you, even on Sundays. Visit the showroom on Phillips Highway or shop online at NimnickBuickGMC.com. Nimnick, your friends in the car business since 1941. GMC, we are professional grade.
Alrighty, Tuesday, inside the studio, Action Sports Jack studio, the Young Norvelle Show coming to you. Our normal Tuesday location, of course, is Hurricanes Joint to Creek. We'll be back there next Tuesday. Had some issues with some gear, waiting on a part to come in, and we'll be right back to our friends Josh and, of course, Callie, the owners and operators at Hurricanes Joint and Creek, and we'll get back to our trivia as we go here. I like to do it on Tuesdays when we're out there, and they have a fun trivia every Tuesday at Hurricanes Joint to Creek. Starts about 7 o'clock every Tuesday. With that, let's go ahead and look at some of these games we were talking about. Waiting on Brent Beard to jump on with us. In terms of who plays who, as we're heading down the backstretch, deciding who will actually play who in these Power 4 Conference Championship games. And again, it's the highest-ranked teams. So let's take a look at the ACC right now. Miami 5-0, SMU 5-0. Everybody else has a loss. Clemson's got 1, and Pitt has 1. Now, Miami, easy schedule all year. Let's take a quick look at what the Canes have left. They just knocked off Duke. They're at Georgia Tech this week. They've got Wake Forest at Syracuse. Very, very winnable 3-game stretch. 2 on the road, but you're talking Georgia Tech, Wake Forest, and Syracuse. Boy, it would take Miami really, really stumbling. Now, their defense isn't great, but who can score out of those 3? Who can score with Miami is the question, and probably the rest of the year. SMU, the other undefeated team, they do not play Miami this year. They do not play. SMU and Miami do not play. The Mustangs, They just knocked off Pitt. They beat them bad. They've got Boston College, a team that was a threat, I thought, the beginning of the year. Boston College is running out of gas a little bit. BC, at Virginia, California, but that's at home. It's not like they're traveling to the West Coast. So SMU has a very, very manageable schedule. So, man, it would take a pretty good upset for Miami and SMU not to meet. Man, I think they're going to meet, and that will be – now, you ask who can score with Miami? Well, I'll tell you one thing. If you haven't seen SMU's offense, you're missing a treat. They run a fun, you-know-what offense, and I think they can certainly score with Miami. Miami's defense is not great. SMU plays pretty good defense, but they get on it now on offense. They really do. Rhett Lashlee, if Rhett Lashlee – I don't care what happens in the ACC championship game. If he gets SMU into the ACC championship game, he skyrockets up the list of potential big hires in college football. And, man, I love that offense. I absolutely love that SMU offense. So it really looks like it would take some monumental upsets for Miami and SMU not to meet. And that tells you what a crushing loss for Clemson. At least Pitt lost last week to SMU. Clemson lost to Louisville. Good, not great team. And Louisville walked the dog on Clemson in Death Valley. Clemson, Death Valley. All right, that's a look at the ACC. Let's move around and take a quick peek. 1 second here. Let's take a quick peek. The Big 12, only one undefeated team in conference play, BYU. They're 5-0. Iowa State, 4-1, coming off a loss. And Colorado, also 4-1. Everybody else has more than one conference loss. What does BYU, and again, BYU, a lot like SMU, I mean, new to the conference, basically, and BYU trying to run roughshod. Let's see, Big 12, what does BYU have left? They are... they're at Utah. That is a decimated Utah team. I mean, they are scuffling. Cam Rising hurt again. He's done. His career is over. Utah decimated with injuries. They are not the Utah team of years gone by. As we welcome Brent Beard. Brent, we're kind of taking a look real quick. The Power Four, and it's starting to take shape. I just went over the ACC. There are two undefeated teams. Miami and SMU, they don't play each other. And Brent, their final 3 and 4 games are very winnable. It would take major upsets for Miami and SMU not to face off in Charlotte. And Brent, I would pay money to watch those two offenses go at it.
Well, let's see a show of hands on 95 who thought that those teams would be alive and well at this point, Terry. I mean, it just is. And particularly this SMU team. But look, and now I just mentioned this in a segment a minute ago. Now, you and I both know that Mario Cristobal has his reputation for inexplicably just blowing a game every year. Yeah. Now, what is, I really am curious on that schedule, what that might be.
Here you go. Here you go. Will it be at Georgia Tech?
Yeah.
Wake Forest? At Syracuse? Man, if he blows one of those, Brent.
I think it may be at Syracuse because they'll beat Tech. I mean, look, they good and well that loop has gone around and around and around about those plays last year.
Yeah.
And they don't want to go through that again with Tech.
Or with the fumble, with the late fumble.
Yes. Yeah. So, again, and I mean, Xavier Restapro, who is now their leading receiver in history. My star, Terry, think about that a minute. Think about all the wide receivers they've had at that place, and the guys going to the NFL. And Xavier Restapro right now is your leading receiver in history.
And he's been there forever. He started catching passes. Really, I mean, he's going to make money in the NFL. He's going to make money as a slot receiver. But and we'll get off the ACC in a quick second. But let's fast forward Miami into the championship game.
Yeah.
And then even into the playoffs, right? If you get to the championship game, you're probably getting in the playoffs because they'll get 2 probably. I'll just pick Ohio State. Ohio State, Penn State. Gosh, even let's just go with Ohio State.
Sure.
I think to beat this year's Miami team, it would take an SMU type structured team more than an Ohio State. You got to score with Miami. They're going to score.
Yeah.
I don't know if an Ohio State can pinball that scoreboard like an SMU can.
Agreed. Well, see, here's the thing with Miami, and you touched on it. They've got this pattern now, and it's a pattern to where they will either get off 10-0 or get behind 10-0.
Yeah.
And it looks like, okay, this might be the week. And they come back, they tie the game after they've got behind, like they did against Louisville. And I mean, that thing was like, I think it was either the 31-31 or 38-38.
Yeah.
And then they just explode for points. But you and I both know when they get away from the ACC and they get some of these better defenses, that comeback may not be. But so here's my question to you, and I was asked this a few minutes ago. How far did they? This is Miami. How far did they go in the playoffs? And how far do they? This is odd, but you get it. But how far do they need to go, Terry, that a loss in the playoffs would not be considered a failure?
Yeah, I would think they got to win one game. You know, they're going to get a bye. If they get in, they'll probably. Well, I take that back. If they lose, they won't get a bye.
Right.
If they lose the ACC championship game, if they get a bye, they got to win a game. They got to win a game, right? I mean, or you go, hey, last year's FSU team says hold my beer, or vice versa, whatever I'm trying to say, you know, because as good as FSU was before Jordan Travis, you look back now and you go, that 13-0. Remember, they pulled like 3 or 4 games out of their FSU did in the 13-0 run.
Right.
And I'm convinced 13-0 last year, that FSU team, that's 9-3 and 9-4 in the SEC. I think they had a lot of built-in ACC wins. Big 12 right now. 1 undefeated conference team, BYU. Iowa State 4-1, Colorado 4-1. Here's what BYU is looking at. They're at Utah. Utah's decimated. They've got Kansas, Arizona State, and Houston. Boy, if BYU drops one of those, you know what? They might deserve to get edged out. They don't play Colorado or Iowa State, do the Cougars. They got a nice schedule.
They do. But the reality is, with that schedule, is that schedule going to save them?
Yeah.
If it's between them and somebody else, in order to get to be able to get in, UCF is not going to help them. Utah is Kansas. I love Lance Leopold, but they've struggled somewhat this year. Yeah. Houston's not helping anybody, frankly. So with that said, Terry, if they get in, with that schedule, that they can't be ranked very high, can they?
No, you wouldn't think. You wouldn't think, but again, the way it plays out, because these conferences are so big now.
Yes.
BYU, Iowa State, Colorado, the only undefeated conference, and the other 2 teams with 1 loss. They just don't play each other. The conferences are so big, you're going to miss. These conferences are so big, you're going to miss 7 or 8 teams, 6 or 7 teams.
Well, and look, okay, I know folks get tired of us doing this, but I'm just saying this is the way it works. If you've got let's say Colorado has, and you're smart enough to see this coming. If you've got Colorado with 1 loss, 2 at the most, and then you've got somebody near them, even Terry, I would even say 1 loss. I'm sorry. I'm just telling. You know, and I'm not trying to be argumentative about this, but you know what's coming, and
TV.
you know who's going to get chosen higher
TV.
because it's going to be Colorado because of the television thing, right?
TV and the because there's so much human factor still in, that can happen.
Yes.
Right? That can happen. That can happen. The humans can go, you're right. If it was just straight Colorado in your scenario and there were NFL tiebreaker rules, well, you just go to the tiebreaker rules, and if they get in, they get in, they don't. But no, because you have a stupid committee that should not be part of college football, that human element will bump Colorado. Dion and the TV boys would love that, because if Dion makes the playoff, I mean, that's going to be a huge TV draw, even if they get bombed.
Absolutely it is.
It'll be a huge draw.
And Terry, it'd be a big draw for people to watch them win or lose. That's your reality to that. But look, the committee's never going to admit it. But we both know that's a real factor, is the television end of it.
No doubt. Moving on to the Big Ten. Right now, you got to believe 2 out of these 4 are going to play in the championship game. Indiana, undefeated in the Big Ten. Oregon, also undefeated in the Big Ten. Two other teams with 1 loss, so they're still in the mix. Mm-hmm. Ohio State, Penn State, Indiana. When you look at their schedule, what they have left, they've got Michigan, at Ohio State, and Purdue. So Indiana, Ohio State, boy. Now, Indiana goes and beats Ohio State in Columbus. Yeah. Well, they get you get cred marks there now. Not tread marks, you get cred marks.
You do.
So you got 2 of those playing each other. Oregon. Let's take a quick look at Oregon, first year in the conference, what they have left. Number 1 team in the nation. They've got Maryland, at Wisconsin, and Washington. Those are winnable games, man. They don't play Ohio State. They don't play Indiana. They don't play Indiana. They've already played Ohio State.
Let me pose a scenario to you, and it goes back to what happened last week with Penn State and Ohio State. Okay, even if Penn State runs the table with this Washington, Purdue, Minnesota, Maryland thing, as you said, if you're the committee, and the committee's not going to answer to this.
I know where you're going.
Would you rank, knowing James Franklin's record,
his history,
and where they're going in big games, would you rank them? Terry, could you see them rank lower than they probably normally would be, simply because the committee's saying, if we put them up here and they get spanked in their first game, what kind of viewership are we going to have with that?
Well, let me answer your hypothetical there. That should not have any bearing.
Yeah.
But remember, we talked a moment ago when we said the human factor. The human factor is in play. What has happened last year, the year before to Penn State and Franklin, the year before, should not have any bearing. And I think it's kind of it's written in the rules. This is for this year.
It is.
But the human factor, they've seen them stub their toe so much. It's hard, even if it's subconsciously. I think that'd be hard for those committee members not to knock them down and go, he never wins over the years. Why are we going to vote for this guy that high?
So what we're saying is that and we're throwing this out here. What we're saying is a Penn State that maybe because of their record, let's say if they run the table, probably could, would be a 7 or 8. But instead of a 7, they're an 11.
They're an 11.
Could you see that?
Yes, they wouldn't be a 12 in this scenario because of the 5. But and before we break, and then I want to talk about the SEC real quick, then break, and then we want to talk about what's going to happen on the reveal tonight, what we can read. I can also see the non-branded teams that are in the middle of this thing getting punished because SMU is non-branded historically.
Correct.
Indiana, let's say Indiana loses a game and it comes down to Indiana getting in or Oregon, let's say they both lose a game. They don't play each other in the regular season.
Right.
The non, quote-unquote, branded schools could easily, that committee could go, okay, how about Texas or Indiana?
Yeah. Oh, yes.
With a couple of Texas, right? The non-branded could fall. Brent, let's 2 minutes before we break. I don't have time to go through the SEC because I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 8 teams that I think you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with 1 loss.
That's
and
right.
three others with 2 losses. There's about 8 teams that could be the 2. My goodness, somebody needs to start looking up the tiebreaker procedure in the SEC for the championship game, shouldn't they?
There's 8 stages of that. By the way, in the tiebreaker, I've been asked this question a lot. I want to throw it at you real quick. Okay, if LSU wins, Alabama would have 3 losses. Their 3 losses would be to a ranked Vanderbilt team, to a top 5 Tennessee team, and an LSU team that with that win probably would be in the top 10. Okay, let's see if Alabama runs the table. Well, they're 9-3, but they're 9-3 with losses probably less than a touchdown to 3 ranked teams. So my question is, look, I know what's logic here.
Yeah.
Logic would be, okay, you've got 3 losses, you probably don't deserve to be in. But whether it's Alabama, whoever it could be, it could also be LSU if they lose. We don't know, do we, Terry, what this committee is going to do, even with a 3-loss team that they're thinking, they're a 3-loss team. They've lost to close games to ranked teams, and they're a great TV draw. We know we're going to get a little bit of pushback here, but would they rank an SEC team by doing that?
In that scenario, I would wonder, and I would like to have some truth serum. What do they truly feel about Vanderbilt? Do they truly feel that that's a true ranked team, or are they just a cute story that had a magical Saturday in Nashville? I would wonder. The other 2 teams are legit in those loss scenarios. I wonder about Vanderbilt, how they would, okay, that's such a cute story, but you know what? Major upsets happen in college football.
Sure they do.
Vandy's cute, but I don't know. That's good. Let's take a break, Brent, and then let's turn it to the few minutes we have left. Tonight's reveal. It's not that big of a deal. Nothing matters until the final Sunday. But I think it'll give us, tonight, when we see the reveal, it'll give us a little blueprint into what the committee values.
Yes.
What they value. Do they value what you just described, big-time losses, strength of schedule, or small number in the loss column, not so strength of schedule? What do they I think there's a clue in there. Let's talk about that as we wrap things up. One final segment with Brent Beard right here on a Tuesday edition, a Hurricanes Jewington Creek Tuesday edition of the Young and Norvelle Show.
At Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, we know pain and injuries can stop you from doing what you love. This is why our board-certified orthopedic specialists offer the latest in both non-surgical and surgical treatment options and create a treatment plan tailored to your unique lifestyle and goals. So, whether it is a sports injury or that nagging pain that's keeping you from doing what you love, our team has the right treatment for you. For more information or to schedule an appointment online, visit our website.
Finally, a family atmosphere, kid-friendly restaurant with a real sports bar feel. Bricks Jack's Beach features all of that and a large, climate-controlled covered patio with misting fans and heaters for all seasons. Mix in an extremely diverse menu that features the most quality and affordable steak at the beach, and there's no reason not to enjoy your next lunch, dinner, happy hour, or big sporting event at Bricks Jack's Beach, 300 2nd Street North in Jacksonville Beach. See you at Bricks Jack's Beach.
You really got to hand it to him. Hold on.
The previous play is under further review.
I'm not sure what he could review, but okay. Sure has been a while. Dine in at Hurricane Grill and Wings for the football season. Well, there he is. Oh, what is that?
The Action Sports Jax 24/7 network is streaming. I'm Stuart Weber, and I'm here to teach you a nice three-step process on how you can watch all your favorite programming from the Brent and Austin Show every weekday 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. or the Cup Date with me. It's fantastic. We talk NASCAR. It's a great time. Wednesdays at 1 o'clock. All right, first step, easy. Download the Action News Jax app. You probably already have it downloaded on your phone, so you might already have that one taken care of. Step 2, see that stack of pancakes up there? You click that stack of pancakes, and it's going to bring down step number 3, which is a full screen of all the different streams that you can click on, including the Action Sports Jax 24/7 stream. You click that, the video's rocking and rolling on your mobile device. You're watching all the shows you want to, and you're having a good time. You can also do it on your smart TV with the Action News Jax Now app. I do it on my Samsung TV at home. It's a great way to watch it on a nice, large screen for all the content. That's the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. Hope you can find it.
You trust CGC to make your water great, and now you can trust CGC with your plumbing needs as well. Fast, convenient scheduling, licensed and insured. A quick call away at 904-552-1242.
You never know when you're going to have an issue with a shower, toilet, or maybe it's a sink that sometimes is easy to fix. All right, let's be honest. I'm not fixing anything. I'm totally staging this because when I have a plumbing problem, I call CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing.
Trained professionals, transparent pricing, customer satisfaction. Small problem or even a bigger issue. Maybe you need a new tankless water heater or something a bit more intricate. The experts with 25 years of experience at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing can do it all. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. That's 904-552-1242 or cgcwater.com. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
All right, we've got time to dive into the selection show with Brent Beard. About 7.5 or so minutes left, Brent, before we start wrapping things up here on a Tuesday. I want to thank Hurricanes Jointon Creek, our wonderful sponsor. Brent, I want to go to, I think our tease going out of the segment a moment ago. I think tonight we will get to see what the committee values, what they're thinking. And I want to use two games, two examples, and Alabama's one because you just went over. They've got 2 losses, but they're two ranked team losses. I want to use Alabama Notre Dame, and I want to use Ole Miss Iowa State. Okay, so you've got Alabama,
right?
2 quality losses, and I think that is a term. 2 quality losses.
Yes.
Ole Miss, I think, has 2 quality losses.
Correct.
Notre Dame only has 1 loss, but it was a horrifically bad loss to Northern friggin' Illinois. Okay?
I agree.
Iowa State has 1 loss, and it wasn't to a power. It was to Texas Tech.
Yeah.
Does 2 beat 1 because of strength of schedule? Does 1 beat 2 because of math? Won't we be able to tell if, let's say Notre Dame pops up at 6, and Alabama pops up at 11. Does that tell? They just care about the number in the loss column, not necessarily, right?
Well, and that's what we need to know. I agree with you on that. And the other thing is, what's going to be in there somewhere is that strength of schedule. There's no way in the world that this committee continues to encourage teams to play a strong schedule and not reward them because of that. Couple of things for tonight.
Okay.
People need to ignore the AP rankings because what you would think that's going to be logical from the AP rankings is not going to happen tonight. I think they'll take it into consideration, but that they won't mirror each other. But what you said is a key phrase here is we need to see what this committee values, because I don't care if it's the NCAA basketball committee or if it's the college football playoff committee. Those committees, they value different things. And we hear that almost every year. Now, what I really want to know is for teams like, Army, Indiana, are they, Terry, is the committee taking them seriously, or are they 21 and 23 in the rankings, or is Indiana an Army 15 to 17?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It really does. It really does. And we're still a long way off, I think, from getting committees out. So you got to kind of talk about it. It's not as cut and dry as the NFL. Brent, you and I, we've seen now 3/4 of the season basically. I don't love the style. I love college football much more than NFL.
Yes.
But the NFL has a way of keeping interest.
It does.
For a lot of their organizations.
It does.
And this season in college football is mirroring that. It really is. It's mirroring.
It is.
And the NFL, they've started the last week or two, the in the hunt. In the hunt means we're trying to keep a bunch of people in this thing.
Yeah, yes.
And that's been beautiful with this college football season. Just beautiful.
It's never been better. David, and for our listeners and viewers, Terry and I share a set of notes, and the first part of the notes is something David Hale did on ESPN, and it is basically now. This is, and he even admitted this. He said, "Look, this is a loose, it's a loosely held guess here." Yeah. But the important thing about it is he actually said, I thought this was fascinating. He said there are 34 teams. 34. Yeah. There are 34 teams that under the right scenario may make the playoffs, or at least right now, there is interest in them for what to do. Now, Terry, in almost mid-November, this is what they wanted, isn't it?
Yeah.
This was a byproduct of going to 12, that you would have that many more interested people in the playoffs in football.
And 2 years from now, you probably take that number to 40.
Absolutely.
You got 2 more spots. And Brent, legitimately, the old way with 4 teams getting in, there were 6, maybe 7 programs by right now, as we sit here, that are thinking big trophy. And everybody else and everybody else is correct. They've got no way to get in the dance.
No,
they're not getting in the dance.
No, right. But listen, we don't know who is even going to the conference championship games.
It's beautiful.
Much less who is going to be in the playoffs right now, and that's it really is. We were somewhat skeptical a little bit about how this thing would play out, but I think we both knew when we went to 12 that it would revolutionize the game, and that's what's going on.
It really is. It really is. The two, and we're coming up under 3 minutes now, Brent. The 2 more next things that really have to happen: get the committees out, and get it to 16. And lop off the extra 50 programs that don't need to be in it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Get to 16 with 64 or 48 big boy programs, and that's what you need. Brent, we got like a minute and a half. I know it's just the first reveal, but man, you got the college football reveal on the same night as the presidential election. I mean, I don't think the reveal is going to get the big numbers they want this Tuesday. Maybe starting next Tuesday, but kind of weird how that played out. But you know what? I guess this is where they want it. And they've had on that Tuesday night, right? It's always been this Tuesday night, right?
It has been Tuesday night in either the last Tuesday in October, the first Tuesday in November. And look, I still think the rankings have some value. I mean, you've got to have a guide to go by, and there's and I know that they'll put teams ahead of other teams and actually beat them head to head. But we've lived with that for years, and it's okay. Sure. So yeah, but this will tell us a decent amount that certainly we can talk about over the next few days that will help us to see where this thing's going.
Quickly, Brent, 30 seconds to go. Wonderful upcoming, and we'll talk 2 or 3 more times before the week's out, you and I on the show. Wonderful doubleheader of SEC football Saturday. I mean, meaningful games. Georgia, Ole Miss, Alabama, LSU. That 8-team mishmash is going to start working its way out with those 2 games.
Well, and I'll tell you one thing, and the other one involved there is Florida and Texas. I mean, if the Gators could have a performance like that against Georgia, man alive. And again, how happy those ABC executives are right now, Terry, about that triple header.
Gosh, I was talking to a very, very well-respected media member I can't name in the press box Saturday, and he and I got talking. What was CBS thinking? What was CBS thinking?
Really?
Well, we'll go up to 100. We'll go up to 300 million, but no higher, and we're out. What were they thinking? Brent, got to go. Good stuff. We'll do it again the rest of the week a couple times. Big time week 11 coming up, particularly in the SEC. 2 huge games. And then who would have thought? South Carolina Vanderbilt. Let's get out of here. We'll talk again tomorrow from
For those dealing with pain from a sports injury, arthritis, or spine condition, Southeast Orthopedic Specialists offers innovative new non-surgical options. Our regenerative medicine treatments, including platelet-rich plasma and other regenerative treatments, use your body's own restorative cells to aid in treating injuries. These procedures are performed in our offices and typically require minimal downtime. If you want to get back to doing what you love, our regenerative treatment options may be right for you. For more information or to schedule an appointment online, visit our website.
Finally, a family atmosphere, kid-friendly restaurant with a real sports bar feel. Bricks Jack's Beach features all of that and a large, climate-controlled covered patio with misting fans and heaters for all seasons. Mix in an extremely diverse menu that features the most quality and affordable steak at the beach, and there's no reason not to enjoy your next lunch, dinner, happy hour, or big sporting event at Bricks Jack's Beach, 300 2nd Street North in Jacksonville Beach. See you at Bricks Jack's Beach.
You really got to hand it to him. Hold on.
The previous play is under further review.
I'm not sure what he could review, but okay. Sure has been a while. Dynamic Hurricane Grill and Wings for the football season. Well, there he is. Oh, what is that?
Hey everyone, Olivia Tasley here from Action Sports Jacks to tell you all the different ways you can watch our new 24/7 network. 3 easy steps. You don't even need a pen and paper to write it down. Step number 1, download the app. Search Action News Jacks in your app store either on your phone or your smart TV. Then, once you're on the app, click on that little drop-down menu in the upper left-hand corner with the 3 little lines. That'll show you these options, and boom, right here, click Action Sports Jacks 24/7, and you will be brought to our continuous stream stream channel. That app can be accessed through all these different platforms, whether you have Roku, Fire TV, Smart TV, Apple TV, or Google TV. You can find our app. Now, if you don't have access to the app, don't worry, we still got you covered. We're across all social media platforms from Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, Twitch. We have a podcast channel. Plus, check out our short reels on our TikTok. Action Sports Jax 24/7. It's on all the time and everywhere.
It's a new logo, new branding. With Bold City Heating and Air, it's an old school approach. One of the few locally owned and operated air conditioning businesses left in Jacksonville. It's hot, Florida in the summer. You can't do much to avoid it, but you can keep cool with Bold City Heating and Air. It's every customer counts kind of service, from when these trucks have pulled up to my home over the last couple of years and when they pull into your driveway as well. From communication to pricing to the actual service, everyone at Bold City Heating and Air cares about you. You know who's coming to your house. You know they will be well trained, and they will respect your home. Air conditioning convenience at boldcityac.com. Stay cool while it gets hot. Bold City Heating and Air can help. Don't get caught sweating all summer. boldcityac.com, and they have financing to help. New systems starting at $110 a month and $50 off any repairs. Stay safe, stay comfortable with Bold City Heating and Air at boldcityac.com. Homegrown in your hometown.